after the Buddha's birth in Kaisho, to bring the head of the 5 disciplines to Europe. Help us. If you hear that, immediately nod. Move the scene to the other side. 3 priests now rushed to the dorm, running and not stopping screaming. It's not over. It's a big deal. When I saw them running to hell, I asked, just when I was looking for you, tell me about your situation first. The tiger quickly set out. The Pope and I have just escaped from the curse. Yao Kim too is not yet. When he heard that, his eyes widened. Only a martial artist is the exception. I have just sent a letter to King Kizu. Before the reinforcements reach this Henan highway, we have to gather people who are capable of fighting. Has restored memories in the city to stone. They don't know that. The letters they sent just flew over the city, was stopped by a bright light, and died on the spot. At the same time in the forest outside the city, the 2-turn HGG and the tree man were also chased here. I watched the hawks hit the screen and die. The tree spoke in the air. It's locked down. Chen Heng's face was emotionless, nodding. The tree asked, say not. In the present city, there's a high-level disaster ambush. Even so, you still want to enter the SAO. Tran Heng nodded, of course. Moreover, we have a hunch. The causes that we need to address. They're all in this city. Transferring the scene to the temple to the emperor. The rest of Sun Yin and Ten Dim are still here. Another grave in the body of 10,000 soldiers. He's staring at the pill in front of him. It's a little distrust. The soldiers also glanced at him and asked, great monk, are you sure there's no problem with the crane you're looking for? The color of these 8 drugs is obviously very wrong. I glanced at him, he replied. To find a buffalo seed that's never neutralized the toxin. But it's not easy to have enough years and months. I came for you. Not to mention how many toxins are inside. But the effect is definitely the best. This is the crane's buffalo, have the highest moral. In the crane's lake, in Sun High Ti of the Great Min. If you hear that, the 10,000 soldiers are not nearly twisted. He looked at the other grave and told him to drink. The other Mirong also did not hesitate to bring 8 up to drink. After a while, the army asked why. The other body parts are much better. This medicine works. Eardrum steady up. At this point, the army is a little angry. Come on, I said there's no problem. 10,000 soldiers laughing. I guess I owe you a favor. The side of Kaisho. The middle devil is still constantly using yin and yang labels considered in the city. Let's see what's hiding in that house. Very quickly, the scene inside the house appeared, in the head kneeling. Inside are 4 demons eating hot pot. As soon as his eyes came, they can also send out bodies. Stop eating immediately and look out. The middle devil saw that and immediately recorded the yin and yang eyes. Then Nick 10 is ready to fight. He just finished. From the house in front, there are monsters jumping out. 10 good people see their form. Then the terror came out. What the hell is this? What's on the body is the color of the skin and the head of the fish. Kneeling also, watch the monsters in front shake their heads. I don't know either. It's kind of bizarre. This is also the first time I've seen it. At this time, the capital next door spoke again. They're fake. I met them at the Battle of the Yellow Ferry. They are the wrong hands of the evil gods. The power is normal. But they won in huge numbers. When you discover a fake, it also means being around. There are at least 100 of the same kind. When you hear this, point forward and ask, so if you find a whole bunch like this, then what? The 2 of them replied, that means people in Kaisho City. They've been completely replaced by them. While they were talking, a phantom worm opens its mouth and screams. The sound quickly echoed through the castle. Very quickly, from the opposite buildings, there were countless other false spirits jumping out. They just came out. He ran towards the 10 good people. Were 2 people 10 good standing. Very quickly under the ground on the roof. They were surrounded by false evidence. The hell is scared right now. Out of fear. Why do we feel like we've been attacked by these monsters around here? It's all surrounded. He glanced at her with a cold voice. Those demoralizing words. Wait until the fight is over. They're busy looking ahead, without even knowing that behind their backs. Now there are 2 hands slowly rising up. They just popped up, quickly grabbed the 2 feet. They are now startled to realize. But it's too late. Not waiting for them to react, he was dragged down to the ground above. Now there's only 1 monster left standing there. He looked at the monsters coming. I don't know what to do. Beneath the ground, in a tunnel somewhere in the city of Shiju. The top. Suddenly, there's a space tear that opens up. 2 demons with 1 other. Out of it, he fell into the tunnel. This person is the leader of the 5 classes. He looked at the 2 10-year-old. How long until the court's support arrives? The devil is surprised to hear that. You are wrong. We're martial artists passing by, not the detective of the bar. Vietnamese. When I heard that, my face dropped to the bottom of my mouth. What is it? At this time, the capital and the monster also went down. When I saw the people, I was angry. Fucking Magi, you deliberately left us on Kier. Do you want to hurt the old man? Viet Trash does not speak up. Just turn your head and look at it. He looked at me like he wanted to eat me alive. The monster immediately trembled with fear and shrugged his head. Hugging his head tightly, he did not dare to Hohe anymore. At this time, the Chinese also asked. That's right, what's the situation in Jeju now? Viet Trash Onion shakes its head. Don't know. 10 good listening then staring he shouted. What I don't know. You're the martial artist who holds this place. If you don't know, who knows? He looked at you slowly. A few hours ago, on the ground, there haven't been so many fish-headed humanoid monsters. At that time, my disciples and I were still working. Investigation of unorthodox sacrifices. That's when we get to where the altar is. As soon as you try to destroy it, then we've seen everything. Beyond human imagination. An incredible existence. If it is discovered, then there is no way. We can only start the show sooner. That thing just glanced at us. The students behind. I immediately turned into a bronze Buddha. Completely lost the ability to fight. Haha, the road is the 2nd martial artist of Hanam. In front of that thing. You can't pull off a trick. He left his disciples confused and fled to this tunnel. I dare not put my head outside, waiting for the court's aid like a coward. It's ridiculous. When the capital hears everything, it speaks up. Actually, that's not bad. Not many mortals can come back alive. After encountering the highest existence, not in the big world. Kneeling at this time also asked. It also means that it's still in that house right now. Not leaving yet, right? When I heard him ask, I was surprised. What do you want to do? Calm down, I want to see you. When they heard that, they were afraid. Do you not understand human speech? I said it's an existence. But human power does not. The enemy can be. There's just enough quartet. Used to national security. Fortunately, Ra had a chance to crack down. You feel you are stronger than the 4. Join forces SAO. The devil closed his eyes and sighed, "Of course not." But then his eyes opened again. Be persistent to continue. Just before the court's support could reach Jiju, someone has to find out what happened after all. I also have some questions to ask him. The enemy is so persistent. Be silent and say nothing. After a while, he spoke up. Say first, I can only take you outside that house. Don't drag me in after that. The middle demon with the cold face nodded to understand. After a while, outside Azakuan in Jiju City, Viet Trach and Chung the devil immediately from the ground. Put your head up where you want to find it. I can feel it. The devil with the double wind, quickly from the ground up. All right, leave the rest to me. Take good care of the boy with me. Viet Trach nodded his head. I know, and then I'm going down to the ground again. Middle devil with double wind, quickly go inside together. People inside saw them come in, then say hello. Who are the visitors? He looked at the enemy coldly. It's all the same. We didn't expect it either. But in a remote place like this, I met a great man like the Buddha in front of me. When you hear that, you smile. See what you say, in front of the Holy Army and the Northern Yin Imperial Capital, that people in the non-AI world don't know. Then a practitioner like me. How dare you take the title? He looked at the enemy coldly. Let's put those polite words aside. I have something to ask you. Buddha smiled gently and replied, just say it, don't be afraid. The devil quickly asked the doubt in his heart. What are the fish-headed monsters in this city? You said it was fake. They are the wrong hands of the evil gods that I have captured. It doesn't really work. But it's contagious LAN pollution and incredible fertility. It's also considered a good surveillance object. He knelt and asked, where is the Gentile in the city? The Buddha looked at him laughing. You guess. The devil heard about this on the killer. Immediately cast a cool red eye at the opposite person. When the Buddha saw this, he immediately spoke up. You will not, because the mortals cannot reincarnate. They make me have to explain. They even hit me, not that. The devil closed his eyes and shouted, Maitreya Buddha does not stay true to himself. You do not have the consent of God, and you have set yourself free. They massacred an entire city. Do you know how poor you are? Maitreya Buddha slowly stretched out his legs, stood up. The world you're talking about has been overturned. There is now war in the world. It is more stressful than you imagine. Before the birth and death of the great world, things like sentient beings, moral stance, anything is a waste. Don't tell me that you're a geek in this city. Even the beings of the whole world, at the critical moment, can also be ignored. The devil looked at him and asked, is the intention of AI? Maitreya Buddha came to the front of Chung, kneeling, and stopped the two of you. 4 eyes looking at each other. After a while, he just came up smiling. Engok Nai Palace, together with 2 great men who have lived for a long time in the Western ecstasy. The devil heard that and was afraid. Maybe in their place. Maitreya Buddha laughed and laughed. Sao can use how to kill 1,000 enemies. Self-harm 800 to oppose the evil god outside. Is that what you mean? The devil is silent. The Maitreya Buddha continued. Very simple, because the opponent this time is not the kind that we can be used. The correct method is that it can be resisted. Sacrificing a small part of the world to ensure that most of the rest continue to exist. It's a shame, but it's the best solution. The devil asked again. This is the common judgment of all saints. Laughing Buddha is almost the same. The man next to me from beginning to end said nothing. Just ask now. What is the heaven? The Maitreya Buddha glanced at him and replied, he is a prophet in this world. Let me tell you why. The capital nodded. That's right, Maitreya laughed and didn't answer. After a moment, his face suddenly dropped. You can understand this as an experiment. Two people, the king and the devil, were even more amazed. Test SAO Maitreya Buddha, nod yes. Although I don't want to admit, the opponent this time, they have the same power as us. It's also an immortal high-level existence. For a period of time that you're playing around with. The two sides have fought each other several times. As a result, both sides realize that this will be a long battle. Just go deep, learn and attack the enemy's immortality. If you can win, the devil asked. What does this have to do with fish heads? You release Maitreya Buddha, quickly replied. It's very relevant on the other side. Our immortality is due to everyone in the world. They all have their own second god. After I die myself, without outside help, the second miracle takes a long time to restore strength. But the foreign gods care. It doesn't have to be that complicated. They live in the traditions, the mouths and beliefs of nobles. Just have nobles. They still believe in their beliefs. They will still be based on beliefs. Like that flood water. It stops connecting a body. New again resurrected. Middle devil, I can't believe it when I hear it. There is such a thing again. The capital is also speaking now. I thought of it when I heard you. Me and the Lord of this world. I just lost at that point. At that time foreign gods to invade the underworld of this world. Using a trick that he and I don't know about. To never stop reviving. They caused the king of Kwang to wither to death. I was then also defeated. At the time, we thought they held a secret. It can reproduce, that ignore the basic rules of the world. Ra is not real. Regret, they didn't deal with their nobles. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in this situation. So you let those fish-headed monsters out. Is to clarify the relationship of those foreign demons and their book, thereby unraveling their immortal properties, SAO. Maitreya Buddha laughed and laughed. No, you're wrong. If you hear that, there are question marks on your face. Maitreya Buddha's sharp eyes said Ra. That study was soon over. Let them out. It's just to test the results. At the same time, somewhere in the city, the water inside suddenly rose violently. Two people tend virtuous and operating via trash. It's underground. Suddenly feel it. The ground below is shaking. 10 incomprehensible glance at the person next to ask, what's going on? There's such a big earthquake up there. Maybe the bearded man and the Buddha. You said you had a fight. Viet Trach looked up, a little unsure of the answer. Maybe not. Earthquake, it's in the underground water in Kaisho City. Just like he said. Under the groundwater of Jeju City. There's a creature that's slowly rising up. Turn the scene to where the people are kneeling. Now the ground where they're standing. It's also vibrating violently. He knelt and looked at Maitreya Buddha and asked, the results you said. It also includes this earthquake. The Maitreya Buddha calmly replied, of course, it's not. It's just an attachment. It's as if I heard something I understand. You take advantage of the relationship between the gods. With their nobles. Use the fake in the city. To attract the outside gods around. Coming down to this world. Right, Maitreya Buddha lowered his face and did not answer. After a while, he laughed again. Follow this smile of his. What's underneath the well has also come out. People feel the appearance of that thing. Everyone has their own face. The ground quickly cracked. Very quickly, an extremely large monster. Straight up from the bottom. Its body is as big as the mountains. Octopus facial body. In the back grow 2 wings. It looks really weird. The surrounding fish heads were excited to see it. Endlessly screaming. The lost Buddha in the temple. I can hear the screams outside and laugh. Your animals are in a hurry. The devil feels the power of the enemy. It's amazing. This intensity has been reached. The Lord's Prayer is very close to the Lord. Viet trash operating in the underground. Look, I'm afraid of sweating. Then another monster appeared. The monster quickly stood up straight. The 2 wings behind her back were also spread out. The octopus's mouth glanced in the distance, screaming. It just screamed Maitreya Buddha in the temple. Then the 2 of you go out, and the devil goes out. The devil saw that and asked him, "What do you want to do?" Maitreya Buddha fat body round. Quick direction outside, run out. They run in, turn around, and look at them. I didn't say that. Acceptance as a gift. He quickly disappeared on the spot. Run outside. Look at the giant monster in front of you. He was extremely excited to say, "What is it, and what is it? Let's do some greeting." Then he closed his hands. In the middle of you, a red seal appears. And then his body kept expanding. After a while, he became a giant Buddha. The monster in front of you, on the pure golden light, does not cease to shine. After turning, he looked at the monster laughing. The animals remember I'm not a monster. As well as recognizing him, his eyes immediately filled with gas. Look at the enemy. Just screaming, they quickly rushed towards the Maitreya Buddha. The Maitreya Buddha saw it coming. Then do the salute. The monster's fist swung without hesitation, straight to his head. But Maitreya Buddha only tilted one side. It was easy to avoid that blow. Then a hand quickly began to grab its head. He doesn't say 2 words, puts his head on the ground. You're not awake yet. If not, let me help you with your brain. And then in his mouth, he said something. Only seen in the sky, there immediately appeared a golden light. From there, endlessly, have the right to beat down. The power of these rights. It's worse than heaven. Each shot is a city. He was beaten to pieces. After a while, the dust is gone. The monster's body was now half empty. Lying motionless on the ground, the fish-headed monster saw the CA being taken down so quickly. Then you open your mouth. But very quickly, only half of the monster's body was left. From the inside without stopping, there's tentacles growing out, regenerating the body. Maitreya Buddha, when I saw this situation, I understood a little. This rate of regeneration, even if it's a low grade. But as long as there are enough nobles, it's still possible to create a stream of beliefs. Help the image condenser sheet SAO Premium. He was thinking about the 7 gods. Under the ground, there were countless tentacles under his feet. They quickly wrapped around his body. The Kier monster wrapped the Maitreya Buddha tightly with its tentacles. Fix the enemy. Then bring your head closer to the enemy. Maitreya Buddha was a little surprised to see that. Has completed the regeneration SAO. It's fast. The monster, without hesitation, opened its mouth and condensed its power. Then, immediately facing Maitreya Buddha's head in a narrow way, hit this move. Directly, that's why Maitreya's head turned to ash. After defeating Maitreya Buddha, the monster gladly clasped his hands. Excitement screams. But very quickly, the excitement on his face was captured. Because it's seeing 2 people. The king and the devil are far away. The devil watches all the battles. Difficult to understand uttered. What does this guy really want to do? I know the enemy is hard to kill. And yet, let it escape. Calm down, he said deliberately. It's even more difficult for the devil to understand. Immediately glanced at it. At the same time, in a small part of the city, there's a brass monk walking around here. Suddenly, he clasped his hands and said, "To borrow my spirit of eternal life." And immediately his body crept up. Body bulge, clothes on the body also crumbled. After a while, he took the form of Maitreya Buddha. He opened his eyes and looked away. If you say so, the second half begins. Then shout out, "My beast is here." The monster is standing there. I was startled to hear the sound. He immediately turned around to see. But I just turned around. He was punched in the face by Maitreya Buddha. A punch this extremely powerful directly flew the monster away. It made him temporarily unable to stand up. Maitreya Buddha then stood on the spot watching it prickly. The strength of his tribe was learned by the enemy. It must be annoying. The capital in the distance, I was amazed. How did he do that? That's what it's all about, through the rules of life and death in this world. Renovating a brass monk. Become a rudimentary second god. The devil is hard to understand. Not to mention how it fits the rules. Just reincarnation without any harm at all. It means just being fully prepared. The person who holds this trick. It can take 10 to 100 lives to wear out an opponent to death. This is a trick if in peacetime. Will be forbidden by the 6 saints to use the seal permanently. The mayor also agreed. That's right. After a moment, the monster slowly stood up again. Maitreya Buddha looked at him laughing. Unfortunately, this is not the essence of God. It's just a slightly larger image. If not, the Lord is also very interested in playing with you. A little more. The Kir monster spoke the language of evil gods to Maitreya Buddha. If you are in the 7 worlds. It wasn't finished, it was interrupted by Maitreya Buddha. This is not very normal SAO. You were born crazy. Will be oppressed in the world. Rational self-interest. You can't use all your power. It's a reasonable thing to hate. Just said on hand, he also quickly condensed his magic power. After a moment, his face sank. There's nothing left to say. With the pagans on the opposite side of reason. Like you. Don't worry, let's go. When I finished, a Cheng slit through. The monsters around are fools around the war. Suddenly, they were all killed. The Kir monster was also beaten. Before disappearing, he didn't even forget to look at Maitreya. Don't be hasty. We will meet again on the heavenly battlefield. Then it quickly disappeared. Maitreya Buddha, with a deep face, looked at it. See you on the battlefield. After the battle is over, the 2 men on their knees rushed over. Kneeling immediately asked. Master's name Theo. That's the kind of thing you want to experience. Maitreya Buddha smiling, is it very useful? Waiting for the monks. Then LAN spread all over the world. Tricks like Buddha entering ghosts. Use the karma of sentient beings for the purpose. Own old Kir. You can throw it away, haha. The pair quickly voiced useful is useful. But I want to put this thing on the battlefield. It's going to be a while. Finally, whether they can withstand the levels of pillar pollution. Whether or not, it still needs to be verified. Maitreya Buddha closed his eyes and laughed. That's not something we have to worry about anymore. Say it again. The state of your second god. It's too bad. Is it because the life and death of this world have been robbed? Or not, or keep your eyes on the enemy. Not speaking up. Maitreya Buddha saw that and did not continue to speak. I don't want to say so. Even though Sao is just arbitrarily asking a question. The middle Neo is now raising its voice. Outside of you, who comes to this world anymore? What is their mission? Maitreya Buddha laughed and laughed. You are not making it difficult for me. Without the permission of the two saints, I have no right to tell you these things. But if we don't coordinate, you will use force on me, right? The devil wears the word. Reject the Maitreya Buddha continues to say. But it's getting worse. Not only do you sin, you just get a fight for no reason. As long as you don't move out, I can't tell you a little bit. As far as I know, there are a total of 6 people this time. In there, 3 of you have been defeated by the master of this world. Those who have not lost the battle. Turn the scene to the serious ones. He is now. I'm staring at the guy in my hand. This weird guy has been in my hands ever since. It no longer points to Jeju and so on. It stopped in North Africa. Is there a problem, or? At this time, the counter next to him spoke again. Seriously, he's almost there. This last road is not the same. Excuse me, let me go first. Keep your head up and pay attention to safety. Complaining doesn't say much anymore. Quickly urge the flying away. Moving the scene to the other side of Yangxia, Mirong excited. Hold your hand tight. The body has recovered 7-8 parts. Whenever we start here, we keep laughing. Soon we'll not let White Tiger. This generation is not going to wait long, haha. The 10,000 soldiers next to him suddenly shouted. Waiting for the poison in my body to be dissolved. But my soul is still outside. 2 girls. When I finished listening, I was stunned on the spot. I don't know what to do. Wild Sao lying on the ground laughing out loud. Haha, before you go, you don't ask. Now they're gone. Who can help you, haha? The enraged army just directly scolded him. Why do you stick your nose in everywhere? You have a lot of mouth. I will bury you in the garden. Do you believe it? At this time, the 10 people next to me spoke up. You want to bring the soul of the world into his body. She looked at the little girl again. Yes, there is a way. 10 calmly replied. There's a shift to the Kaisho side. After listening to Maitreya Buddha finished speaking, the devil is terrified. And then there's this, Maitreya laughing. You don't think so, right? Ha ha ha, I am too according to logic. There's no reason to care about the world. But the AI's job is the homes. I can't say much about his choice. I'll just tell you an hour in advance. Then the acquaintance comes back. After all, your position is the same. It's just that the path is not the same. The devil looks at him and believes you. Then there's another one. What is his name and purpose? The Maitreya Buddha replied without hiding anything. The last one is the lake. He's the creator of the Kier Brass Monk's magic. The path he chose when he came down is the level of sentient beings, if I guess wrong. Currently, he's also made quite a brass monk. If I were you, before he took the initiative to leave this world, I will absolutely not stop him. Okay, what can or can't be said? We've all said it. We need to go. If we don't go, we will be captured by the masters. It's coming this way. Kneeling at him, he replied, It looks like we owe you a favor this time. Maitreya Buddha laughed and laughed. The grace of the Holy Army. And the North Yin capital. Lord, I remember well, haha. When he finished, he slowly disappeared. Wait for him to completely disappear. The new capital spoke. That day was gone. The devil nodded. The mayor asked where to go next. The two-eyed devil wrinkled Liao City. A moment later, I felt there was no more noise. The new Viet Trach emerged from the ground. Look around for a moment to make sure it's safe. He just wagged his hand. Call 10 good and evil up. 10 good and evil just came out. Then you open your mouth. In front of them is the wilderness. That Maitreya Buddha together with the evil god fighting formed. The whole city is in ruins now. He looked in the distance and said, I don't know on the ground. What happened after all? But the anger of the other two is gone. This is good news for us. 10 good nods in agreement. Suddenly I feel something. He was startled and glanced behind. When you turn around, you see that the middle Nile and the capital are coming. On his knees, he asked, on the side of the city, maybe there's still a Buddha. Do you want to come with me? Sighed the German. Let's stop. Even if you don't know why, you can kick the Kier out. But you are very strong. Much stronger than the reluctant. Keep your life in front of him. Like my tricks. It's not good to keep your life under attack. Even if you come to Jerusalem with me, it doesn't help either. Now, the 5 remaining ones are just me. Before finding a suitable heir, we can't risk being handed down. Come with you to understand life. The devil did not hesitate to listen to him. Nod your head, I understand, and then I look at the top 10. Let's go to Liao City. 10 quick nods of agreement. You two sit on your back again. Butterflies who left. Watch them slowly disappear. Viet Trach has a little exclamation to say. This Ha Nam highway, since when did such a strong person appear? At the same time on the ocean side. Another grave is lying on the ground right now. Ask 10 people sitting next to me. Just lie on your stomach like that. No need to do anything else. 10, she nods her head. Yeah, there's nothing to do. If you hear that, don't ask. Okay, just do it. 10 stand up. Quickly recite the law of infinite heaven and earth. The whole body in the original God Kui Kui, according to her legal beliefs. In her hand immediately appeared a chain. It quickly long raw, towards the soul of the 10,000 soldiers. Then he stuck it on his chest and pulled it away. 10,000 soldiers are standing there, immediately pulled away by a very strong pull. Very quickly his soul was compelled. Put it inside the body. After a while, 10 people slowly woke up. At the same time, in the sky above the mountain. On the way to Jiju, I flew over here. Look at the scene below. He's a little confused. It turned into something like this. Just see below. The soldiers are checking those who enter the city. Tran hung with the tree. He also dressed up as a businessman. He's bleeding to get into the city. After the injection, there was no problem. The soldiers let them in. As soon as they enter, they quickly fire. The art of turning the body back into its original form. He sniffed the tree and asked where he was going next. Tran Hung looked at the street in front of him calmly. Let's solve our cause in Liao City first. At the same time, in a dojo in the city. The 4 apricots are here looking for a martial artist. Look at the old room. Dust and spider webs in front of you. Yao Kim too immediately spoke up. This dojo SAO, it feels like it's been empty for years. So you're sure martial artists are entrenched in this place? Live here. The king turned and glanced at the man next to the tiger. After we get to Liao City. Have you ever met a martial artist and his disciples? No, the tiger shook his head. The angry king gritted his teeth and continued. His mother's been played. They are capable. He died before we came to the city.